Hello, I am Lucy Baldwin. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be 3 strategies to help manage overwhelm. I'm talking about overwhelm with respect to time and all of the things that we feel like we have to do. So this topic is very close to my heart. This is something I do a lot of work around. This is something I have a lot of experience with because I'm a mother of 4. I run multiple businesses. I run multiple programs. I do online marketing. I am pregnant. I live in the world today where I have to pay bills and handle all kinds of crazy logistical stuff. And I own a home and I'm a creative, so I have creative projects. And there's just a lot going on in my life, and it's really easy to feel overwhelmed. So, I want to give you my 3 top strategies for dealing with that. So, number 1 is going to really facilitate number 2. These two are kind of wrapped around each other, and they're both so good. So, number 1, you need to know what your order of priorities are. And actually, you don't have to have them perfect. I do want you to have a list. I want you to have a list of what your priorities are. What are the projects or current like areas in your life that you need to take care of? And I want you to flag like which of those things are just things that just have to happen. Like I just have to pay my bills every month. You know, I have to handle certain things for my kids' school or whatever. These are the things that just have to happen. And so we're going to label those in a specific way. Maybe we're going to put a color tag on them. And then ideally we want the things that are sort of like actively happening in our lives to be ordered by priority. So because what I've noticed is that most of the time when overwhelm really strikes, like when it really affects us, is when we have a block of time to do something and we can't decide what to do because there's too many options, there's too many things that we could focus on, and we can't narrow it down to the one thing that we're going to spend this time on. And oftentimes what happens is we just shut down and we don't end up doing anything at all. Um, and by anything at all, I mean, none of the things that we want to be doing, we end up doing things that are, those habits that we're trying to break, or we eat junk food and we go to some form of escape, whatever our go-to escape is. And that's not to say that you shouldn't indulge in those things, because I think it is helpful to have, you need to have downtime, and that's important. But if you use all of your spare time as downtime, then you're not getting the things done that you want to get done, then this will help you. So another yeah, and this is another problem with overwhelm, is that often what happens is we don't even use our downtime well, and we can't really relax, and we don't end up taking good care of ourselves because we're overwhelmed. So we are carrying the weight of everything that's going on. And then we just go to an escape and we don't really rejuvenate ourselves in a way that we come back feeling restful, or that we actually get some like recharging from that. So this is why it's really helpful to have a sense, at least a sense, of what your priorities are. Like which things are most important to you, which things do you really, really want to get done, and which things like are not essential, so that when you come to that time to choose which thing you're going to do, it's not like everything is coming onto you at once. It's that you have this list and it's by order of priority, and you can choose whatever is closest to the top of the list that you need to do or haven't done yet, right? So, um, so this is really just a strategy for helping you choose in the moment which thing you're going to do, so that you don't fall into the overwhelm and get stuck in a loop, or get stuck just like zonking out, like stressing out and not really like doing anything. And then that makes it worse, right? It's like a catch-22 because now you've wasted time and you feel stressed and mad at yourself for wasting time. But really, it's just because you were overwhelmed and you couldn't make that decision because you had too much all coming in at once. So this will help you choose which thing to focus on so that you can make that decision more easily and feel confident and just choose something that's like near the top of your priority list or not because maybe you've gotten the other stuff done that you want to get done. The second thing is to focus on one thing at a time. Because like I said, the overwhelm really gets us when we have those like free moments, right? It really gets us when we're like, okay, I have 3 hours to work. What am I going to do? And then that's when suddenly it strikes like, oh my God, I can't decide. There's too many things. And then we're focusing on all the things we have to do instead of choosing one thing and doing that one thing. Because realistically, we can really only take on one thing at a time. So I'm not talking about like not multitasking. I think multitasking is fine. What I'm talking about is um, letting the weight of all of the things land on you every time you have an opportunity to get something done. Because you can't, it just, like I said, it shuts you down. And then you don't get anything done and then you feel worse. So we're going to avoid that. We're going to have a list of priorities and we're going to use that to help us focus on one thing at a time and try to do one thing at a time. So right now, I'm not thinking about the launch that I have that I'm trying to do right now. I'm not thinking about the fact that I have to pick my kid up in 20 minutes. I'm not thinking about the fact that I need to finish my daughter's Halloween costume for an event she's going to tomorrow, or the fact that tomorrow I have three different kids really, who have three different agendas, and I have to somehow juggle all of that with my husband and maybe involve my mom, and it's going to be this whole logistical thing. I'm not thinking about that, right? I'm just focusing on this video right now. Um, so that's number two. And number three is asking for help because I have found that most of us are just very reluctant to ask for help. And this is something that I've learned to do. As I just mentioned, I might have to pull my mom in tomorrow to help me with uh, getting all my kids, what they want and need to happen this weekend. Um, and I luckily work with a team of people who there's a lot of things that I take on that are my responsibility in the business and in like the launches that we're doing and stuff like that. But I've really learned that, since we're all in it together, I can just ask for help when I need it, and they'll be there to help me and make it easier for me. And the truth is that people in your life want to do that. And the reality is that we need help. And I know because I love to help to step in and help them when they need help with certain things. Like I'm usually able to find time for that and am available for that because it's usually very easy for me to show up for that sort of thing. It I don't know, it just sort of comes automatically to a lot of us. So maybe you don't work with a team of people, maybe you run your own business. It might be that you actually just need to hire help, or it might be that you want to do more collaborative work, or you might have friends or family or a partner who you can lean on in more ways than you have been. And the most important piece of this is asking with clear, direct language. I think it's one thing to like imply that you need help, right? I really learned this lesson with my mom because my mom is a very literal person, and I used to want her help, and I would just sort of be like, geez, I'm really struggling with this thing. And wouldn't realize that I want help, and that's on me. So I would get frustrated with her because I'm like, why didn't you offer to help me? And it's like, why didn't I ask her, right? So I've learned that I just have to say like, hey, will you help with this thing? And of course, she's always pretty much going to say yes because she's my mom, and that's great. And maybe you have that kind of relationship with your parents. Hopefully you have that kind of relationship with someone in your life that you can ask for help. And if you don't, then I recommend working towards building those kinds of relationships. And you can do that by just starting to ask the people in your life in very clear, direct language for what you want help with. Uh, yeah, I know that's edgy for a lot of people. Just asking for help in general is edgy for a lot of people. That's why I brought it into this, because I know it seems obvious, and yet we so frequently forget to do it. So that's what I have for you today on managing overwhelm. I hope that this video helps you. Just to review, we're going to list your priorities, really order things by priority so that when you're in those moments of transition where you have to make a decision about what you're going to do, you have something that you can refer to that will help you make a decision so that you can focus on one thing at a time. And then we're going to focus on one thing at a time because that is how we manage all of these things, right? We have to just choose something and go with it. And maybe we need to set a timer for ourselves so that we make sure we get to the next thing. But I recommend using timers rather than relying on yourself. Like rather than having this thing in your head where you're like, oh my God, what time is it? Am I going to be late for that thing? Oh my God, what time it is? Because that's distracting. So like set a timer for yourself or set a little alarm so that you can really focus on one thing at a time, and then the alarm will go off and you'll go to the next thing or you'll make that appointment or whatever it is. Um, yes, and then asking for help with clear, direct language. Okay. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you liked it. If you did, definitely hit that thumbs up button and feel free to subscribe to my channel because I'm really cool and I share really great stuff. And also people pay a lot of money for courses that I teach, and I'm also here just giving stuff away for free, so might as well soak it up, right? Okay. Thank you so much.